Hello everybody, I hope you're well. Welcome. I'm stopping by to just show you a couple of new stencils that I've added to the website. They're actually on pre-order because I've just been given the go-ahead that they should arrive tomorrow. Now I've put them on pre-order, arriving tomorrow. Obviously, they're arriving tomorrow. Should there be no issues with traffic or anything else, obviously I have to stipulate they should be arriving tomorrow, and normally delivery is really good. Now, if these stencils arrive in the afternoon, I may not get them out until sort of tomorrow, and therefore you'd receive them Saturday, depending how many orders I get. And obviously it's the bank holiday as well. But I've added two new products, two stencils to my website that are on pre-order, and the 6x6 stencils. Now the first stencil, the reason I'm adding it is to extend something that's already in our library. So TE16, I've now designed a stencil. Let's bring in a piece of black card. I've now designed a stencil that goes with the TE16. You know, let's move these all out of the way because that's irritating me a little bit. So they're all going. So this is the TE16 stamp, and this is the stencil that coordinates with it. Now, I don't tend to bring products out, you know, I don't always just have a new release. Sometimes I'll bring the odd product out because I think, oh, I just fancy adding this to that. So this is what I've done here. So this is a 6x6 stencil. Now, there aren't the cutout pieces because some of them would be broken. So there's no cutout pieces with this one. Normally I add the cutout pieces, but they wouldn't be the full letters because I've made them very grungy. And that's why it's called Grunge. So it's ST3 and it's 6x6 stencil Grunge. Although it does say cutouts included there, I should have taken that off the packaging. So the cutout, they haven't included, so not to worry. But there we go, we've got the stencil, and that's actually my error. So with the stencil, it goes beautifully with this. Let me just lift this up for you. Let me just lift this up so that you can see. You've got all the letters that you've got in here. So where you've got the W, you can see the W. You've got the A, you've got the big X. So they're all in there, and I've made them sort of very grungy, just so that it really adds to the design. So what I'm going to do is I'll just show you what this looks like. So let's take this out. I'll actually show you what both stencils look like first, and then we'll just have a little play. Now, in my previous release that we released in April, of course, I haven't got that stamp out because I'm very naughty. So on April the 6th, we released the Magnolia stamp. So with the Magnolia stamp, I then decided to release a Magnolia stencil. So it's a 6x6 stencil, silhouette bloom, and you've got the Magnolia. Let's bring in our black card just so that you can see that. So you've got your Magnolia. And the idea with this is you can add this in the background on its own with other florals, with text, with the grunge that we've added, or you can add it with the Magnolia stamp. And again, I haven't amended the packaging, which I should have done. The cutout isn't included because you'd have broken bits. So I'll check again, but I'm sure that's not included. But you've got the beautiful stencil, as you can see, and it goes perfectly with the Magnolia. So it goes really nicely with the Magnolia. So let's have a look at the two stencils. Let's have a look at that. Let's move the black card out of the way, and we'll bring in the stencil. So I did do a couple just so that you can see them with the inks. So this is the Grunge, just with a blue ink. Doesn't matter which way you use them. And the Magnolia, again, you can use them both ways, just with a little bit of ink. And we'll just do that now, just to show what you can do. Doesn't matter whether you have it this way, you can use part of it, but obviously with your 4x6 it'll fill that whole card, the 4x6 inch pieces of card that we've got. So for instance, if we use some cracked pistachio, and we use a little bit of Mermaid Lagoon, oh, put the right ink on there, and then let's give that a little bit of a spritz. She says looking for a water, so I'm just going to give that stencil a little bit of a spritz, and let's place this down. I haven't even looked which way the stencil is because it doesn't really matter, it's still just as beautiful. So let's just add that here, like so. There we go. Let's lift this up. Which, because of my silly nails, there we go. Just look at that. Isn't that just wonderful? Oh, I just love it. Honestly, I absolutely love it. And then what you can do, let's just dry this. So we'll just dry this now. Honestly, it doesn't take much for me to get excited. So obviously we've got more ink on there, we could add another, but that's not what this video is about, creating 900 backgrounds. So let's just wipe the stencil. There we go. Oh, I just love that. Look at it. Oh. And then what you can do, is you can take your TE16 if you want. You don't have to. You can add a poppy to that. You can add the Magnolia to that, whatever you want. But also, if you wanted to, you could then take some black ink and you could sort of take a little bit. I do apologise because I'm all fingers and thumbs. So then you could take a little bit of TE16 and you can add that over the top. Oh, I just love it. You can add that over the top and it coordinates perfectly. Just glorious. I just love it. So I'm so pleased they're arriving. And of course, I just can't wait to have a play. So then we can also, if we take our little, you know, our gel press, our little gel press, let's bring this in. So our little 3x5 inch gel press that we're all loving at the moment. I'm afraid I've only got a couple of paints on my desk. Should we just, we've got Bodacious and Legit. Let's just use them. It doesn't really matter, does it? I'm just showing you why I've released the stencils. So I'm going to add a little bit of the Bodacious, and then we'll add a little bit of the Legit. It's got a little bit of dried paint on there. I've got plenty of card just on one side, just so that I can show you. So we can take our paint, way too much paint on here. Let's just leave that there for the moment. You can then place your stencil down. So if I place it down like so, you can then, if you wish, just take a print of anything that's on there. Obviously, if you use a bit of copier paper, it'll get into the fine details, but I don't do that. Just so you can see, you've got a little print there, just taking out the inner areas. And then if we just lift that up, you can see that there is something on there, and we'll just leave that at the moment just to dry a bit. Or if you're a little bit impatient, now don't go and put your heat tool too close to your gel plate. That isn't what you need to be doing, but I'm just making sure that's dry, which it should be. I don't think we'll get anything out of that, but what you could do is with your stencil, just see if any of that paint will come off. So let's take a little bit. I mean, to be honest, there's hardly any paint on there, but let's just... It's funny because even though it's very pale, I can actually see it. Let me lift this up for you. You can see, I know that's very difficult with that light, but just so you can see, nothing's ever wasted. Now obviously this stencil is very distressed. So now I've got my stencil design on here. I'm then going to take a little bit of watery. Tracy, you should have wiped the top of your paints. So let's just add a little bit of watery. Take a little bit of that watery. Let's place this onto the background. These are just quick little demonstrations for you, just so that you can see. Oh, that's just gorgeous. Look at this. Yummy. That is just gorgeous. Just gorgeous on the gel press. Absolutely gorgeous. Now we could, I'm sure we, oh, that's lovely. I've got to keep that. I'm sure we could do it without sort of lifting the print as well. So let's just add the legit and the bodacious again. Do you like I'm not wiping this paint up? Terrible habit to get in. But I could lift this bit of paint that's on here and add it to this background here, like so. Let's just wipe that up. There we go. You can always tell when Tracy's excited because she's got too much stuff everywhere. I've even lost the stencil. Which way do I want it now? That way, yeah. So let's add our paint. There we go. Another piece of card just to blend that on there. I've got my fan going and I don't think, let's turn that off, that is helping as well because everything is drying so quickly. Let's just place that down there. Let's just lift some of that, like so, just so you can see that. And then let's see if we can, the paint's wet enough just for us to lift that print straight away. Oh yes, just gorgeous, absolutely yummy. But this one with the watery on it as well is just gorgeous. You can also, obviously, if you're not into your sort of mixed media, let's grab another piece of card. This is me just supposed to be showing the stencils. Again, I've got a little bit of paint on there, so I'm just going to wipe the paint away from the stencil. Your name is on the stencil. You can highlight that with a little bit of black ink. But there you go. You've also got another background. But you can also highlight the name with your black ink. It's actually, where's my black card again? At the top, it will say the name. It actually says Grunge. I don't think I can, there we go. So you can highlight that with your VersaFine Clair ink. I just love this, absolutely love it. So you can also, obviously, if you just want to do your normal, let's pick this up. Blue and, what have we got? Blue and green. Okay, I've got 2 blending brushes. And if you want to, so I've got the cracked pistachio. You can do your normal, just blending the colour. My cracked pistachio is very pale, even if I say so myself. You don't have to use the whole stencil. You can use a little bit of the stencil, and obviously you would be sensible and hold that down with a piece of low-tack tape. But you can take your Mermaid Lagoon as well, a little bit of that. So if you just want to highlight a little bit, you can also highlight just a little bit. And then you can use your TE16 and stamp that over the top. So let's try and keep tidy. So again, you could wipe this onto another piece of card. And I mean, I've been here 15 minutes and look how many backgrounds we've created. But you can quite easily come in. So what colour we've got there? Let's have a look. So I've got a bit of blue here. Obviously, I'm not checking that colours coordinate. I'm just giving you ideas. So you could then take part of your stamp, not the whole thing. Use a little bit of avocado and barley blue maybe. Maybe I should have used grass green, but it doesn't matter. You can then add a little bit of the text over the top, and it works beautifully with the stencil underneath. So within 15 minutes, I've created just fantastic backgrounds just through playing, just divine, just through playing with little bits of ink and paint. And it just gives you so many options, even just wiping the ink off. There is one other thing you can also do, but we won't get into that. I'll do other demonstrations another time. So that's your Grunge. I now can't find where it is. We've now got the Magnolia. So let's do just layering. So I've made this bigger so that it can be in the background and you can add other smaller elements on there as well. So it's entirely up to you. Obviously it'll go on a 6x6 card as well. And obviously you would use colours that suit, but we're just going to use what I've got on here. So I can take my ink, just take the cracked pistachio, I think I could do with a new cracked pistachio, I won't lie. Then we'll take a little bit of Mermaid Lagoon. Now I'm not doing anything you know, out of the ordinary or complicated. But you've got, oh, that's just gorgeous. So you've got that in the background. You could then, I mean, I've not planned anything because it was a surprise that they were arriving tomorrow. So I've not even planned anything. But what you can do, I'm just giving a quick idea. Now, obviously, you'll do these in whatever colours. I'm just using what I've got. So let's just take this. And then let's take avocado. And then I'm going to take a little bit of barley blue. I'm not even thinking about it, to be honest. I'm just going for it. And then if I want, I can just add a little bit. Don't forget, you can turn your stencil. Oh, Tracy, what have you done with the stencil? I don't think there's anybody more dangerous than I am. What have I just done there? You can obviously have your stencil this way or that way. So it's entirely up to you. It's also this size as well because you can stand things on there as well. But what I'm trying to say is you can have the Magnolia in the background. Oh, it just looks lovely. You can then take your Magnolia text. Now you can see, you know, I've not prepped anything. I'm just showing you what you could do very quickly. And these are the reasons I've added them, because it extends the life of your previous products. And the stencil, the floral, the silhouette floral of the Magnolia will also extend the other florals because you can add that with the poppies and everything. You'll often see Anne as well. She'll add lots of florals together and so will the other DT. And they work beautifully. But if you wanted to, let's take another piece of card. I mean, I have pieces of card everywhere. I've got appointments galore today as well. But if you wanted to, you don't have to have the whole thing on the page. So let's take a little bit of cracked pistachio that really is not much colour on there at all. But we're not going to get another colour out. We're just going to show you even when you've not planned it. So you can have part of the Magnolia. You can just use part of here like this. I've not even added a second colour. I'm just showing you. You can even just add, and then you can stand one of the little little animals on there. So you can just then take a little bit more and just add. So the stencil can be used in its own right. It doesn't have to be used with anything. It can be used in its own right. There you go. Look at that. I mean, just one colour. And this is what I like to show you. You don't have to have, you know, other than your inks and paints. It's just wonderful. You just... So then, imagine you've got your poppy on here in like blues, and it just works. I mean, look, just gorgeous. I love that one. Absolutely love that one. And again, to prove, obviously, you can turn your stencil round. So if you want it to coordinate with the stamp going the other way, let's take a little bit more ink. Let's go a little bit more. And you can see I'm not exactly being careful, which I would be when I'm making the samples, but I'm trying to give you some ideas sort of off the cuff. And I never release products for the sake of releasing them. But for me, I just needed these because it just extends. In other words, I'm being self-indulgent. You can then place the stencil back if you're not happy. Quite easily lines up, she says. There we go, I think it was there. You can add a little bit of the Mermaid Lagoon. A bit of the Mermaid Lagoon. Not even being sort of careful. I just think that alone is just stunning. If you just like clean and simple cards, then you could take, I've now lost the acrylic block, then take the stamp. You can, if you want to, you could even stamp in the oxides, a little bit of the oxide. So the cracked pistachio, Mermaid Lagoon, and you could spritz with a bit of water and it'd be sort of quite watery. So then you've got, let's have it sort of there. Obviously, if you use the VersaFine Clair, it's going to stand out a little bit more. So yeah, you can't see that quite as much, but it is there. Now, if I'd got my stamping platform, I could add that over the top. But what I'm going to do is just show you when you use the permanent colours. Now, if you'd got your stamping platform, you could go straight over that. I haven't got my stamping platform, so I'm just going to wing it, I'm afraid, just to try and show you with the darker colour. Sometimes it's good to just have a play. There you go. You can see that it goes beautifully. Oh. Then add some of your text from the Magnolia. So pick up the text from the Magnolia. There's just so much you can do playing around. I mean, I'm just touching the surface, but it's just giving you some ideas. There we go. And you can see why I've added the product. So just so you can see, look at that. Just gorgeous. So again, just another stencil that you can add just beautifully. So the stencils are available now, but I really do want to reiterate, it is on pre-order because they're arriving tomorrow. Now I've put arriving tomorrow, but I do have to sort of cover myself so that you're all forewarned that obviously arriving tomorrow sometime, if it arrives in the afternoon, the stock, then I will get the product out the next day. So if it arrives tomorrow and it arrives in the afternoon, I will then get them out Saturday morning, depending on the orders. But I will get them out as quick as possible. But I'm absolutely thrilled with those. And I hope you like them as well, because it's so important that you like those as well. So let's bring in the stencils, bring in the black card, move this out of the way, just so you can see those stencils there. I just love them, absolutely love them. Just looking back on my backgrounds, I absolutely adore them. Don't even know where the other backgrounds have gone. Have I left them underneath? Spot the person that does backgrounds and then I'm like, where are they? Where are my beautiful backgrounds? I do think I'm dangerous sometimes. Well, not sometimes, probably all the time, really. What do I do with the other backgrounds? What you don't do, you see, we see you. So we've got, I mean, I even love that one that's just pet. Oh, I just love that. And that. And that. Just love those backgrounds. So I hope that gives you a few little snippets of ideas. And I think just left for me to say is thank you for your support. As always, I wouldn't be here without you. So thanks very much, everybody. So these mainly are added because every now and then, I did this last year, I added TE23, a stamp set, because I suddenly decided that I wanted that in the range. One advantage of having your own little micro business is you can design whatever you want when you want. So it's just wonderful having that freedom. So I will leave you, and obviously when the DT haven't received these yet, because I'm just going to post theirs out today, so they'll receive theirs tomorrow. But you will see us offering inspiration, lots of inspiration with those 2 stencils. So love to all, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.